Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjanam Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Radha Madhava Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashodanandana Jaya Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadramani Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Premanande Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Ashtosta Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada King ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Savior of the whole world Srila Prabhupada King Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Ashtosta Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada King Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda King Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur King Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Yugadharma Harinam Sankirtan Ki All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayed Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9, Text 22. (6.9.22) Avismitam tam paripurna kamam Svenaiva labhena samam prashantam Vinopasarpatyaparam hibalisha Swalangulena atitarati sindhum Avismitam tam paripurna kamam Svenaiva labhena samam prashantam Vinopasarpatyaparam hibalisha Swalangulena atitarti sindhum Avismitam tam paripurna kamam Svenaiva labhena samam prashantam Vinopasarpatyaparam hibalisha Swalangulena atitarti sindhum. विनोपसर्पत्यपरं हि बालिशः स्वलाङ्गुलेनातितर्ति सिन्धुम् अविस्मितं तं परिपूर्णकामम् स्वेनैव लाभेन समं प्रशान्तम् विनोपसर्पत्यपरं हि बालिशः स्वलाङ्गुलेनातितर्ति सिन्धुम् अविस्मितं तं परिपूर्णकामम् स्वेनैव लाभेन शमं प्रशान्तम् विनोपसर्पत्यपरं हि बालिशः स्वलाङ्गुलेनातितर्ति सिन्धुम्. माताजी. Avismitam, who is never struck with wonder. Tam, him. Paripurna kamam, who is fully satisfied. Svena, by his own. Eva, indeed. Labhena, achievements. Samam, equipoised. Prashantam, very steady. Vina, without. Upasarpati, approaches. Aparam, another. He, indeed. Balishaha, a fool. Swa, of a dog. Langulena, by the tail. Atiti tarti, wants to cross. Sindhum, the sea. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki translation. Free from all material conceptions of existence and never wonderstruck by anything, the Lord is always jubilant and fully satisfied by His own spiritual perfection. He has no material designations and therefore is steady and unattached. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only shelter of everyone. Anyone desiring to be protected by others is certainly a great fool who desires to cross the sea by holding the tail of a dog. Purport. A dog can swim in the water, but if a dog dives in the ocean and someone wants to cross the ocean by holding the dog's tail, he is certainly fool number one. A dog cannot cross the ocean, nor can a person cross the ocean by catching a dog's tail. Similarly, one who desires to cross the ocean of nations should not seek the shelter of any demigod or anyone else, but the fearless shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-58 therefore says, Samashitaye padapallavaplavam mahatpadam punya yasho murare bhavambudir vatsapadam param padam 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 yat vipadam natesham. The Lord's lotus feet are an indestructible boat, and if one takes shelter of that boat, he can easily cross the ocean of nations. Consequently, there are no dangers for a devotee, although he lives within this material world, which is full of dangers at every step. One should seek the shelter of the all-powerful instead of trying to be protected by one's own concocted ideas. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakayam Chakshuhu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsam Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we heartily welcome all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class, and I earnestly seek blessings of all the assembled devotees so that I can speak something from this wonderful section going on for the glorification and pleasure of the Lord and the service to all the devotees assembled. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls Srimad Bhagavatam as Amalam Puranam, the spotless Purana. Why? Because Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies specifically and exclusively the glories of pure devotional service unto Lord Krishna, culminating in the sweetest pastimes of Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. And every pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam very systematically and gradually elevates the reader, elevates the audience to that level of pure devotional service, untinged, uncovered by the mixture of karma and jnana. So the purpose of every pastime that comes in Srimad Bhagavatam is to elevate the consciousness of the reader from whatever level he is to the ultimate level of love of Krishna. And this particular section going on currently, the Vitrasur section, which is famously called as, its purpose also is the same, to elevate all of us from Sakama Bhakti, Karma Mishra Bhakti, to Nishkama and Shuddha Bhakti, the pure devotional service to Lord Krishna. This pastime, which occupies more than half of this canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, almost there are 19 chapters in this canto, and this pastime, starting from Indra offending Brihaspati, and eventually the appearance of Sri Vitrasur, and then Vitrasur leaving the body, remembering Krishna, and the past history of Vitrasur. Almost it occupies around 11 chapters. That means more than half. Remaining 8 chapters speak about Ajamila section, and last chapter speak about Diti. So almost 11 chapters covers this whole pastime. That which can tell us the importance of this pastime and the many lessons this pastime wants to teach all of us. Yes. So here, as we find the current section which is going on, that the Indra out of his anger could not tolerate what Vishwarup was doing, and then he immediately cut off the 3 heads of Vishwarup, and his father Twashta became very angry with that, and then he performs the sacrifice from which Vritrasur appears. Yesterday the series of verses which we saw, the appearance of Vritrasur, and Vritrasur is attacking the demigods, and demigods also tried their best to fight and counterattack Vritrasur, but Vritrasur, without much effort, he swallowed all the weapons of demigods, and demigods were not understanding what to do. And as usual, the demigods, whenever any problem comes which goes beyond their head and capacity, they immediately go and take shelter of Lord Vishnu. Jai Shri Radha Vrindavan Bhagwan ki, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki. So, from 21st verse onwards, the demigods' prayers start. So they are trying to please Lord Vishnu to get his blessings, so that he will reveal the method by which the demigods can defeat Vritrasur. That's what the section going on. But the crux of this pastime is not demigods taking shelter of Lord Vishnu. That is not something glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because for this pastime to come in the pace of Srimad Bhagavatam, it has to be something much more extraordinary. So demigods taking shelter of Lord Vishnu is just a part of this entire pastime. But the heart of this pastime is how Vritrasur, who appeared like a demon, suddenly, after a few chapters, suddenly manifests his devotional service, the mood of devotional service to Lord Vishnu. So that is the crux of this entire pastime. That Bhagavatam brings out the heart of the demon called Vritrasur. And the heart is completely filled with so much of love and devotion for Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu. So that is the suspense and crux of the entire pastime. Which goes to show that Srimad Bhagavatam is something amazingly brings out. It brings out that the advancement in devotional service is not measured, it's not estimated by the externals, but the internal qualities that a practitioner develops. So that's what Srimad Bhagavatam is focusing on, that the symptoms of the advancement is not measured by any of the external things, but by the internal qualities that a practitioner develops. Here we find Indra, externally seems to be in devotee body and is all devotee, not just devotee body, is a devotee. Having devotee association, yes, maybe honoring prasad of the Lord offered to Lord. Now, everything favorable for devotional service externally. And in the contrast, Vritrasur, he was having everything unfavorable for devotional service. His body itself is not favorable in the form of demon. Yesterday we read what kind of appearance he had. Yes. The hair on the demon's Vritrasur's body and his beard and moustache were the color of melted copper, and his eyes were piercing like the midday sun. He appeared unconquerable, holding the three worlds on the points of his blazing trident. A few chapters back only we read the description of how a devotee, how Vishnuduta looks. When Ajamila chanted the name of Narayan, immediately 4 Vishnudutas appeared. And Shukadeva Goswami mentions about their description. Padma Pala Sakshaha, their eyes were beautiful, like lotus petals. And they were marked with tilak, and they were Charu Chaturbujaha, their arms were very beautiful, and they were having Shankachakra Gada Padma. Their appearance was so pleasing to the eyes. That's what devotee's description. And here we find demon Vritrasur description is exactly opposite. Isn't it? The thought of Vritrasur itself is so frightening. What to speak of his darshan? What to speak of, you have to deal with him face to face. So frightening it is. Yes? But not only he was a demon, he was not just a demon in a demon body, he's the king of the demons. Can you imagine? He's the king of all the demons. And he was not carrying beadbag like all the devotees are carrying. He was carrying trident in the hand. He was not chanting Hare Krishna. He was chanting conquer, Akraman, no demigods, no conquer and defeat the demigods. That was his chanting. So externally, everything, when we see Vritrasur's body, is completely unimaginable, undigestible, how a devotee should look like. But Bhagavatam does not focus on the externals, it focuses on the internals. Yes? So, that what is the heart of the Vritrasur? That will be revealed eventually when he starts offering prayers to Lord, being in the demon's body. That is very important lesson, that surely externals do matter. But externals not all that matter. So there is something more than externals. That is, we have to work upon the internals also. So externals for a devotee changes in a matter of a year or so, isn't it? Wearing dhoti kurta, putting tilak, kantimala. Just matter of a time, a year, it changes. But what is more important, what is lifetime work is to work upon the internals. That whether we are developing the qualities that Vritrasur is exhibiting here. So Vritrasur exhibits amazing qualities of detachment from material success or failure, devotion to the Lord, detachment from the material things. So all such wonderful qualities he exhibits. On the contrary, Indra, although he was in the situation where everything is favorable for devotional service, so somehow still exhibits the qualities of attachment to the material facilities and the bad qualities of anger, envy, becoming insecure, all these qualities. So, along with externals, one is also should focus on the internal development of internal qualities that is required for advancing in devotional service. That is very important lesson this pastime teaches. Another important lesson Srimad Bhagavatam teaches, it just reverses the hierarchy of the social system. Generally, according to social system, Varnashram, the Brahmana is considered to be greater than Kshatriya. Or Sannyasi is considered to be greater than a Grihastha. But you find in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is something exactly opposite. In the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni, Ambarish Maharaj happens to be Kshatriya and Grihastha. Whereas Durvasa Muni is Brahmana and Sannyas. But when the testing time comes, when Durvasa Muni becomes angry and releases the demon, fire demon, that is the turning point of the entire pastime. So then Ambarish Maharaj, what he does? He immediately goes and takes shelter of he takes shelter of the Lord. And the same, when the Sudarshan Chakra comes and the Sudarshan Chakra defeats and kills the fire demon and starts attacking Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni, who is supposed to be taking shelter of the Lord, being a sannyasi and Brahmana, he does something unexpected. He starts running out of fear to protect himself instead of taking shelter of the Lord. Yes. So that is another important lesson, that the externals doesn't matter. What matters is the internal dependence and devotion to Supreme Lord. Yes, that theme many times gets repeated in Srimad Bhagavatam. In 10th canto also we find when this Yagnik Brahmanas were performing sacrifice. So Krishna Balram sent their friends to go and beg from Yagnik Brahmanas and tell them that Krishna Balram were hungry, so please give some prasad for them. But Yagnik Brahmanas, they tell, sorry, we are busy doing performance, we cannot give you. And then Krishna Balram tell, you go and ask their wives. And when they go and ask the wives come with all the preparations to serve Krishna Balram. So Yagnik Brahmanas, who are supposed to be elevated, intelligent, understood the essence of all the Vedas, they completely acted in such a way which is not expected. Instead of surrendering, the purpose of practicing, the purpose of sacrifice or studying, learning all the Vedas is to surrender to Lord Vishnu. Vedescha sarvair ahameva vedya. Isn't it? But they forgot that essence. They were caught up with the rituals. Whereas the Yagnik Patnis, Brahmana Patnis, although they were not well learned in Vedas unlike their husbands, but they understood the essence. That is, the essence of all the Vedas, Puranas, studies is to surrender to Lord Krishna. And when these cowherd boys came and asked them, immediately, whatever they cooked for the sacrifice, they immediately took everything and went to Vrindavan to surrender, to offer to Krishna Balram. So again, the same contrary. The hierarchy was reversed. And we find in Kaliya, and although later Brahmanas came to know that we were supposed to surrender to Krishna for that purpose, and the glorified Brahman Patnis that they could do something wonderful. But still, they did not surrender. They did not surrender because out of fear of Kamsa. If Kamsa comes to know, what will he do to us? So they did not surrender to Krishna. And same thing we find with Kaliya also. Although Kaliya was thoroughly beaten, and Kaliya surrendered to Lord Krishna finally. But these Yagnik Brahmanas, they did not surrender. So again, Kaliya versus Yagnik Brahmanas, if we compare. So Kaliya, although he was thoroughly defeated and smashed, his pride was smashed, but finally agreed to surrender. And he became a devotee of Krishna. Many pastimes now we find, Jiva Goswami mentions that Kaliya was accepted as the carrier of the Lord. Sometimes Lord Krishna uses Kaliya instead of Garuda for going here and there. So because Kaliya agreed to surrender, so Kaliya became a pure devotee. But although these Brahmanas, they were in the form of in the body of a Brahmana, still they did not surrender out of fear. So Srimad Bhagavatam completely reverses the hierarchy. That it doesn't matter what varna, what ashram, whether higher or lower matters. What matters is ultimately, what sees ultimately the pure loving service to him. That's what is focused the entire Bhagavatam gives on. So coming here this pastime, that the demigods are coming and offering prayers to Lord, and then Lord is going to reciprocate to their prayers after they offer in this section. So here in this section also very much focuses on the differences between, exposes differences between Indra and Rudrasur, as we are discussing. So to become Indra, to occupy the post of Indra is not so easy. It's very, very difficult. And after occupying also, Indra is not not any normal demigod or normal human being. So Indra learns all the scriptures from the great Guru Brihaspati. He is a direct student of Brihaspati. He knows all the Vedas, Upanishads much more than any one of us here. He knows all of them. Yes. And then to occupy the post of Indra itself is so difficult. One has to perform 100 Ashwamedha yajnas. That's why Indra is called as Shatakratu. When he signs, he writes a Shakra. Shakra means Shatakratu. That is autograph. So Shatakratu. So one has to perform 100 Ashwamedha yajnas. And to perform one Ashwamedha yajna itself is so difficult and impossible. And Indra did perform 100 such yajnas. And he was appointed personally by Lord Vishnu through the medium of Lord Brahma to become Indra, the king of all demigods. Direct student of Brihaspati, the king of all the devatas. Yes? And Indra, over Jiva becomes Indra, he remains Indra in that post for the entire Manvantara. It's not that every 5 years he has to go for the campaign and stand in the elections and defeat the opposition and then again occupy the post of Indra. Not that again he has to go for fund collection, which is required for campaigning, and then he has to put all the flyers and announcements. No. Once he becomes Indra, he is Indra for the entire life of Manvantara. Nobody can remove him from that post. So that much great he was. That much special post he has. But along with the post, along with the position, comes with big responsibility. So if one is not careful with the post and position one gets, one can become victim of so many anarthas, especially pride and attachment. These two becomes very prominently shown through this pastime. So the pastime begins with that only. When Indra was receiving honor, where all the different species of demigods were offering him prayers, respects, and he was sitting on the elevated throne with his wife Sachi. All the great demigods were offering him prayers. There were prayers meant for Indra in Rig Veda. So that much great Indra was. I mean that was going on when he was receiving the honor, and that time Brihaspati enters, his own spiritual master. And Indra knows he's supposed to get up, but he gets carried away with that situation momentarily by pride and doesn't receive Brihaspati respectfully. He did not verbally or mentally or physically offend Brihaspati. He just did not get up. That is the offense. And that becomes a very great offense. And Brihaspati understood exactly what is going on in Indra's mind. He is completely captivated with the pride. That's why he is not even getting up to receive or respect Brihaspati. So Brihaspati immediately leaves at that place, knowing the situation. The chapter name is Indra Offends Brihaspati. Such a very grave word. Although Indra did not do anything physically, but just not getting up to receive. Because the offense is at the mental platform become very deep. He thought himself that I deserve this. I need not offer respect to anybody. And that seed of dissent is very deep. And that's why Brihaspati just left. And then eventually what happens? The demons gain the power and defeat the demigods. Although Indra realized his mistake, he could not do anything at that time. And so all the demigods took shelter of Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma chastises them. So you are captivated by the pride, you should not do that. At the same time, he gives the solution also. Go to Vishwarup and request him for doing sacrifice, oblation, and once he does it, he will give you the strength by which you can defeat the demons. So that is one good thing about demigods. Whenever they are in danger, they immediately go and take shelter of either Brahmaji or Lord directly. Yes. And Brahma gives a solution. But Brahmaji also gives one important warning. So he tells the solution, but put star mark. Conditions apply. What is the condition? Be aware, Vishwarup, he has no maternal and paternal relationship. Yes, he has relationship with mother also from demon side and through demigods from father side. So be careful. Though he will offer oblations to demons also. But you have to tolerate that part. So Brahmaji actually gives warning to all the demigods including Indra. But they were so much focused on getting the strength back that they did not pay importance to that condition. So that is called as selective hearing, one of the types of hearing. So what we want to hear, that only we hear. And we don't do the complete hearing. And they come and request Vishwarup, he also agrees, he offers oblations, he gives the demigods Narayan Kavach, by which they gain back their kingdom. But secretly he was offering oblations to demons also, to support them. And when Indra came to know, he could not just tolerate it. He could not just digest it. And he was not at all thinking what he was doing. The spur of the moment, he takes his sword and just cuts off all the 3 heads of Vishwarup. Although warning is given that please tolerate that part, but Indra could not tolerate that part. He just cut off the 3 heads. And that is because of the first problem Indra faced because of the pride. He did not get up and offer respects to Brihaspati, his own spiritual master. And this he could not tolerate because of there was a threat to his material attachment. The material attachment. That although Indra was such a great personality, where even we find in Bhagavatam 10th canto, Nanda Maharaj, all of them, they worship Indra. Such a great personality. But still, Indra's problem is attached to the facility he receives along with the post and position. And whenever he finds that attachment is threatened, so Indra goes to any extent to do anything and everything to protect that position. And that is the problem with material attachment. That material attachment, one is not careful about it, what attachment one is developing. And when there is a threat for that material attachment, that it will be taken away, that one is ready to do anything and everything. One is ready to go to any extent to protect that attachment. And just doesn't think about what one is doing. And that's what Lord tells in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, very systematically, that Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate. When the attachment is under threat, what happens? One becomes Krodha. From there gives birth to Krodha. And Krodhat from anger comes Sammohat. One becomes deluded. Swammoha Spruti Vibramaha. His memory gets lost. Smuti Bhramstrad Buddhinashu. When the memory is lost, his intelligence is lost. And Buddhinashat Pranashyati. He falls down. And that's what exactly happened with Indra also. When there is threat for his material attachment, the demons may also become powerful. And they may again wage a war. And they may again get back the kingdom. So that was the fear. And then out of the krodh, anger, his memory was lost, intelligence get lost, and then he did something which he repented for it later. He just cut off the heads of Vishwarup. So again, though, he became very much disturbed by that, and then Twasta, the father of Vishwarup, he becomes very angry and disturbed with Indra. He performs the great sacrifice with the intention to get an enemy to kill Indra, but somehow because of mispronunciation, he gets an enemy who will be killed by Indra. And that is Vritrasur. The Vritrasur is nothing but the result of the reaction of Indra's mistake. So in our life also, whenever we do mistake, we are knowingly or unknowingly giving birth to Vritrasur. So whenever we are doing mistakes, the sinful activities or offenses, so that is going to give birth to reaction. And nobody can escape it. Just a matter of time, it is going to come. Whether it is Indra, whether it is any human being, one has to face the consequence. So nobody can get away with that. including Indra. He has to face the consequence. And when reaction comes, we should be careful that we should be remembering that this is because of my own karma. It's not, God is very mercifully, very, very unmercifully giving the problem. No. So Srila Prabhupada is to tell, do not blame the instrument of your karma. So that karmic instrument we only created. So we should not blame them. So the more we blame, the more we are implicating in more karma. So instead of blaming the instrument of our karma, better accept, I should have done something mistake in the past, so I should accept it now. I should tolerate that now and continue the process of devotional service. So that is the devotee's disposition. In fact, devotee goes ahead to think that I should be getting more punishment. I should be deserving more punishment, more suffering. But Lord is so merciful that He is only giving me token punishment. We know the famous pastime of Srila Prabhupada's disciple. When he was cutting sabji, his finger got cut. And immediately goes and asks Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I am cutting sabji for Lord. Why my finger is cut? And Prabhupada told very gravely, your hand is supposed to be cut. But because you are performing devotional service, only your finger got cut. So that's how devotee's disposition is. He feels grateful that that I am supposed to be getting more suffering. But Krishna is so merciful, He is only giving me token punishment. And whenever a devotee gets happiness, he thinks, I don't deserve this at all. But Krishna, out of His mercy, He gives this. Prabhupada mentions this in 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So that is devotee's disposition. Yes. So Vritrasur is nothing but the result of the reaction of Indra's own mistake. And then so they try their best to counterattack Vritrasur, but it could not work. So immediately they go and take shelter of Lord Vishnu. And that's what is happening here that time. So the important lesson that we are discussing is that when we are practicing devotional service, so surely we will be given some post position, some facilities to perform, to execute our devotional service, that particular service to Guru and Vaishnavas. But we should understand that that particular post position facilities is not for us. It is for the service sake. And the more we are conscious about it, the more we will be careful about it. That when the facilities will be given, we will be careful to use them only for service of the Lord. And when they are taken away, we will not be disturbed. Because we are conscious that this is given only for service of the Lord and they are taken away. And that's what in first canto also when Krishna left this world, the Prabhupada mentions in that section that the whatever skills are bestowed for Arjun by Krishna, it is only for the service sake. And now Krishna felt that those skills were no more required, Krishna took them away. So one should not become proud or attached to the borrowed plumes from Krishna. Yes. So we should be extremely careful to cultivate that detachment, at the same time using them only for service, not become attached to that. And we have to be very conscious because the material energy is so strong that we don't come to know that how we become subtly attached to the material facilities. And the respect and post position comes along with it. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls all these things as Upashaka Gana, this material attachment. Nishiddhachar Kuti Nati Jiva Himsa, Puja Labha Pratishtha, Upashaka Adiga. So when we are watering the Bhaktilata Bij with Shravanam and Kirtanam, along with Bhaktilata Bij grows this Upashaka, desire for name, fame, prestige, desire for wealth, followers, post position, all those things. So we should be careful, very careful that where we are watering our Shravanam and Kirtanam. Is our water going to the Bhaktilata Bij or is it watering this Upashaka Gan? So we have to be extremely careful about it. So we should be careful what material attachments I am cultivating and not to water them anymore. And how to make sure that we don't water material attachments and we water only Bhaktilata Bij. So Prabhupada has given us the process. Krishna has given us the process of regularly and daily, attentively hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, attentively, so Srimad Bhagavatam clearly exposes that these are material attachments, these are Upashakagan, and this is Bhaktilata Bij. The intelligence we need to distinguish between that weeds and the Bhaktilata, the intelligence comes from regularly, attentively hearing or reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's why Srila Prabhupada very, very mercifully instilled this Bhagavatam class daily, so that we will be aware and be conscious that where we are watering. All of us will do Shravanam Kirtanam, no doubt about it. But where that water is going on, is it going to Bhaktilata beach or is it going to weeds? So that distinction we come to know, we learn from the hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam, studying Srimad Bhagavatam on a daily basis. Yes, that's why Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. By serving either book Bhagavatam or person Bhagavatam, what happens? Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, this material attachment is almost getting destroyed. Yes. And then what happens? That series of verses continues. That Bidhyate Hridaya Grandhi, Chidyante Sarva Samshaya, Kshiyante Chasya Karmani, Drishta Eva Atmanishware. So Bidhyate Hridaya Grandhi, that Hridaya Grandhi, the strong knot of material attachment in the heart is completely cut off by hearing. Shunvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana. Hridyantasto hi abhadrani vidhanoti suhritsatam. So that is a process. That's one of the important processes, hearing. And second important process Lord has given us is the process of chanting Hare Krishna. Yes, when we chant, what happens is Cheto Darpana Marjanam. That Cheta, which has a lot of material attachments, that gets margin, that gets cleansed. So that's why the purpose of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's descent is to distribute the importance of Harinam and Harikatha, through which he is distributing Krishna Prem. Yes. So that's a very nice verse comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antalila, where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami glorifies Lord Chaitanya. It tells, Chiradadattam Nijagupta Vittam Swaprema Namamrutam Ati Udaraham. So why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended? Because he wanted to distribute which is not distributed for a long time. Chirad Adattam, not distributed for a long time. What is that? Nijagupta Vittam, his own treasure. Nijagupta, secret treasure, not just treasure. Nijagupta, secret treasure. What is that? Swaprema Namamrutam, his own holy name and his own prema, to distribute that. Ati Udaraha, magnanimously. And to whom? Pamaraha, from Pamara. He not exclude Pamara. Starting from most fallen people to the most elevated people. To distribute that. Krishno Janebhyas Tamaham Prapadde. He is Lord Krishna himself. Now to distribute Swaprema Namamrutam, which is not distributed from a long time, very magnanimously. So he has descended to this world. Yes, so distribute that Harinam and Harikatha, by which the strong material attachments, by hearing and chanting attentively, which the strong material attachments will be cut, and the original Krishna Prema, which is there already in the heart, will be watered, and eventually we can also follow in the footsteps of Vritrasura, the glorious devotional service which he exhibits. That is the purpose, this Srimad Bhagavatam class and all these things. And for this purpose, keeping in mind, Srila Prabhupada incorporated ISKCON almost 57 years back. So on the same day, July 11, 1966, isn't it? Almost 57 years back, keeping this in mind, Srila Prabhupada incorporated International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So on the day of July 11, 1966, Prabhupada, he gave Bhagavatam class in the morning, and after class he requests the lawyer, Mr. Goldsmith, to do the needful. And Goldsmith gets our announcers. That time, on the spot he announces who wants to become the supporters of this movement. And because every year 3 supporters they need, treasurers they need. So first year they choose 3 people, second year they choose the remaining 3 people on the spot. Nothing is decided before, isn't it? And then Prabhupada calls very boldly that we call our society as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So immediately one of the well-wishers of Prabhupada immediately objected, Swamiji, why can't we call this society as International Society for God Consciousness? Because Krishna is a vague term for the Americans. And Prabhupada told, actually God is the vague term, because people know God but they don't know who is God. And through this movement I want to announce very boldly that God is Krishna. And that's why we want to call this as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And the purpose of starting this great organization by Prabhupada, the same purpose, to very boldly, to to stress the importance of Harikatha and Harikirtan. And that's why, Prabhupada, through the books of, he spent his sleepless nights, isn't it? For what purpose? To give us the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is nothing but Harikatha, by hearing which the hard knots of the heart will get cut. And another important purpose of starting ISKCON movement is to spread, following the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to spread the Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So keeping these two purposes in mind, and that's why Prabhupada installed that, made sure that every day morning we have Bhagavatam class, every day evening we have Bhagavad Gita class. Because he knows that being conditioned souls, there is a great tendency to become attached materially. And if this is not, that Shravanam does not happen, that cutting process of this material attachments does not happen. And even one may be in the body of a devotee, like the demigods, but still one may be developing and cultivating a lot of material attachments. And Prabhupada not want any of us to develop anything less than pure devotional service. So for that, Prabhupada very painstakingly translated Srimad Bhagavatam, gave wonderful pure devotional purports, yes, and made sure that we have discussion of this Bhagavatam daily one verse, and even in Bhagavad Gita class, go out for Harinam Sankirtan, and keep a very strong morning program, the same purpose of keeping that focus, nothing less than pure devotional service to lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. No mixed devotional service. The problem, maybe I don't know, in the Swargaloka and with demigods is they may not be having this great opulence of coming together and hearing Bhagavatam class. I don't know. They get to hear Bhagavatam class only when they are in problem. And they go and take shelter of Lord Vishnu and Lord Brahma, and then they give Bhagavatam class, and then they hear. But the main purpose of hearing is, that somehow that we want to get back our kingdom. They hear Bhagavatam for the sake of hearing, so to get the solution. So that, and once they get back their kingdom, again, whatever they heard is forgotten. Yes. But we are so fortunate that every day we are reminded by different devotees the glories and the warnings that Bhagavatam offers. Yes. So we don't want to, we surely Indra is a great soul, and when Indra performs yajna, personally Lord Vishnu comes to attend that yajna, to reciprocate with Indra. At the same time, we want to learn very important lessons from Indra and demigods, and not repeat the mistakes what they have done. And be careful and follow in the footsteps of Vritrasura, because this pastime especially puts in front of us that whom we want to follow. Whether we want to follow in the footsteps of demigods who are attached to material things and become disturbed when they are taken away, or follow in the footsteps of Vritrasura or Dadichi Muni, who is going to appear after a few verses, that no matter whatever situation they are put in, their only goal is to surrender to Krishna. Because their focus is surrender. And whether they get facilities or not, they are not worried about it. So, and the choice is ours. Because we have both choices, we have both options. Following the footsteps of demigods and going through the same problems which they have gone through, or following the footsteps of great devotees like Vritrasura and not compromise anything less than pure devotional service. The choice is ours. And Prabhupada very clearly told the purpose. Many times Prabhupada mentions in his purports, in his letters, in his lectures, that the most important purpose of this, the mission of this Hare Krishna movement, is to make everyone a pure devotee, to give pure devotional service to Krishna. And that's why Prabhupada mentions in 10th canto, 2nd chapter, this ISKCON has taken birth. Krishna has taken birth in the womb of ISKCON. And this ISKCON, Hare Krishna movement is non-different from Krishna. Many times he mentions it. So taking shelter of Krishna, as the demigods are doing here, isn't it? The demigods are taking shelter of Krishna. Isn't it? And taking any other shelter other than Krishna is nothing but taking shelter of a dog's tail. Isn't it? So surely dog knows swimming, but we have never seen any dog trying to cross the ocean. Isn't it? So dog itself cannot cross the ocean. What to speak of somebody who is catching the dog's tail? The person himself drowns, the dog also himself drowns. Isn't it? There is no hope at all that no dog can cross the ocean. And whoever is catching the tail of the dog also crosses the ocean, isn't it? And what's that dog's tail represents? Many things in our life. As second canto Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami tells, Deha apatti kalatradishu atma sainyeshu asatsvapi tesham pramatto nidano pashyannapi na pashyati. So taking shelter of this body, taking shelter of the relatives who belong to this body, and the material skills and facilities and talents that come along with this body, one's intelligence, one's education, one's knowledge, all these things are compared to taking shelter of a dog's tail. And nothing of these things is going to help us when the danger is right in front of us. The only one thing that's going to help us, that is taking shelter of the Lord in the form of Harikatha or Harinam. That is what is going to help us. Nothing is going to help us. And that is the purpose. And taking shelter of Krishna is not different from taking shelter of ISKCON. Because the purpose of ISKCON is to teach us to take shelter of Krishna in the form of Harikatha and Harinam. Isn't it? So when we are taking shelter of ISKCON for the pure teachings which Prabhupada has given, we are actually taking shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, just a matter of time, we will surely cross the ocean of birth and death. And we are extremely grateful to Srila Prabhupada for starting this movement. And in fact, we cannot express our gratitude. And no matter whatever we will do in the form of whatever, we can never express our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. But at least Srila Prabhupada requested, how can we reciprocate? And Prabhupada told, please accept what I am giving and please share with others what you are receiving from us. So our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada should increase day by day. If only we understand what Srila Prabhupada has given us. And according to our capacity, we can reciprocate in receiving what Prabhupada has given us and also in sharing and bringing more souls who are taking shelter of dog's tail. Now, there are so many other organizations which also seem to offer shelter. But if they are not offering the pure shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, taking shelter of those organizations is also like taking shelter of dog's tail. Nothing less than that. That's it. So we have to be careful where we are taking shelter. They are not offering the pure shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Those organizations also compare to dog's tail. And anybody who takes shelter of those organizations also will drown. The founders of those organizations will drown in the ocean of material existence, and the followers also surely going to drown. No doubt about it. Yes, so it's a great fortune, and by the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada, he opened this ISKCON, and some more by the fortune, unimaginable fortune, we came in touch with this movement, and we are part of this movement. Now let us take full advantage of this movement and share the wonderful facility which we are receiving to other souls. To summarize, we saw how Bhagavatam mentions the development of the internal Vaishnava qualities is the most important symptom of spiritual advancement, not much about externals. And secondly, we also saw that Bhagavatam, how it reverses the hierarchy of the Varnashram. So although somebody may be in the higher Varnas and Ashrams, but if they are not devotees, they are not much glorified in Bhagavatam. But somebody who is in the lower Varnas or Ashram, but if they are devotees, Bhagavatam very much glorifies. Prahlad Maharaj also tells in the same verse, Viprad Vishad Guna Yutad Aravindanava Padaravinda Vimukat Swapacham Varishtam. The Brahmana be having all 12 qualities, but not a devotee, he cannot deliver himself. On the other hand, Swapacha is a dog eater who is the lowest in the ladder of Varnashram. But if he is a devotee, he can deliver himself and the entire world. So that's how Bhagavatam completely reverses the hierarchy. That's we learned. And coming to this Indra's section, that the Indra had two most important problems. One is pride, because of which he offended Brihaspati, and secondly because of material attachment, because of which he cut off the heads of Vishwarup. And we learned that what attachments we are cultivating is going to matter very much. So how to cut off the material attachments? By Shravanam and Kirtanam. By doing that, we can cut off that. And then that's the purpose of Prabhupada starting ISKCON, to make us pure devotees, to offer nothing less than pure devotional service. The choice is ours, whether we want to follow in the footsteps of demigods or we want to follow in the footsteps of Vritrasura. So ISKCON is like that, ISKCON is like the lotus feet of Krishna, not different from lotus feet of Krishna, because it's offering us the shelter of lotus feet of Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? I'll take one question.
As you said that no one can conquer Indra's post or means Indra's position in one Manvantar, then why this demons, they fight with Indra, and Indra also fearful about his post that it will go away.
Yeah, that's what happens when one doesn't practice pure devotional service, because he thinks that that post will be taken away. Somebody becomes more powerful, more stronger, they can defeat Indra. So Indra's post cannot be taken because it is personally protected by Lord Vishnu himself. But Indra thinks, and that is the nature of attachment. That although there is no threat, he thinks, becomes insecure.
And one more question is there, Prabhuji. As you said that other organizations are there, means different, they are preaching about this Shunyavad, Mayavad and all that. But for anyone who is a newcomer, so we can't means tell them directly that we are the only giving the highest one, others are not giving. So how to handle this, means how to...
Yeah, very sensitively, very carefully, we have to tell the principle and give them the intelligence to identify themselves. That is what, like same question was asked by Judge Harrison also to Srila Prabhupada. That how do we know who is great pure devotee of Krishna? Which Bhagavad Gita teaches pure devotional service to Krishna? Because everybody is saying that like that only. And Prabhupada tells you find out who is most attached to Krishna. Prabhupada did not tell I am the only one who is giving. He told you find out who is most attached to Krishna. And that's what it is. So when we speak to the new people, we speak the principles. And if they are intelligent and sincere, they will come to the right path. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for telling us, warning us that where to water and all. And I had 2-3 questions, but one I will ask because already time. I was wondering why Nagapatnis, Kaliya surrendered, whereas they could not fully surrender. Any reason is there?
Who could not surrender?
See, Kaliya could surrender because wives prayed for him and he was accepted by Krishna. Whereas the
Brahmanas.
Yogic Brahmanas also kind of surrendered, but still they could not fully surrender. Is there any...
What I heard is it is because of fear of Kamsa. Because if Kamsa comes to know that he may punish them. So they have faith in Krishna, but their faith is not complete. Because, in my understanding, because of lack of complete faith in Krishna's protection. And they have more faith in Kamsa's strength than Krishna's protection. And that's why they could not surrender completely. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Internet Society for Krishna Consciousness ki, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Samasta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanand.